I am an old man in Norway, and I have never once paid for a bottle of bug spray. Not because I am too proud to spend money, I have spent it foolishly on plenty, but because I learned young what sits inside the expensive bottle, and it stopped my hand at the shelf. It is a warm morning in July, and my roses are in trouble. Along the tender new stems, just under the buds, the aphids sit packed in a green crowd, hundreds of them, soft little bodies with their mouths in the plant, drinking it dry. I turn a leaf over, and the underside is grey with them. The shoot tips are already curling. Any man in America who has grown a rose or a pepper plant or a young apple tree has turned over a leaf and seen exactly this. In my other hand is a jar of plain green soap, the soft, brown, faintly sticky soap that has lived under Norwegian kitchen sinks for as long as anyone can remember. A bottle of it costs a few dollars and lasts me years. I stir one spoonful into a spray bottle of water. I walk the rose bed and wet the aphids until the leaves drip. By evening they are dead, shriveled, and I brush them off with my thumb. Now, walk into any garden store in America in June. There is a whole shelf for this. Bottles with hard names and angry labels, insect killer, bug blaster, kills on contact. Some cost $8, some $15, some more. Bright colors, a picture of a dead beetle, a promise in big letters. Turn one of those bottles around and read the small print on the back, where they are required by law to tell you the truth. On a great many of them, the active ingredient is 5 words long: potassium salts of fatty acids. Read it again. Potassium salts of fatty acids. That is the chemist's name for soap. Soap made from oil and potash, the same family as the brown jar under my sink. You are standing in front of a shelf of soap, refined, bottled, priced, and named to sound like a weapon, but soap. The store is not lying to you. It is simply counting on you not to turn the bottle around. I turned it around a long time ago, and I have never looked at that shelf the same way since. What I want to give you in the next few minutes is not a secret and not a miracle. It is the plain thing behind the expensive bottle, the way to make it yourself for pennies, and, because I am an honest old man, the exact list of what it will and will not do, so no one on the internet can sell you more than the truth. My father showed me the trick when I was a boy, on the black currant bushes behind our house. The tips had gone sticky and curled, and he mixed soap and water in an old tin and told me to wet every leaf, top and bottom. I asked him why soap. He said, because a louse cannot put on a raincoat. That is closer to the science than you would think. An aphid, a spider mite, a whitefly, a mealybug, these are what a gardener calls soft-bodied insects. They have no hard shell. What keeps them alive is a thin, waxy, water-repelling coat over a soft body, and inside, cell walls as delicate as wet paper. Soap undoes exactly that. The fatty acids in true soap cut through the waxy coat and break down the cell membranes underneath. The insect can no longer hold its water. It dries out and dies, right there on the leaf, within a day. This is not folk belief. It is why the bottles on the American shelf work at all. They are doing the same thing my father's tin did, with the same chemistry. Colorado State University, whose garden experts have studied this for decades, will tell you soaps have been used against insects for more than 200 years, and that the modern product is simply potassium salts of fatty acids, soap salts, mixed with water. Nothing more exotic than that. There are 2 things you must understand about how it kills, because both matter later. The first, it only works on contact while it is wet. The soap has to actually land on the insect and soak it. Once the spray dries on the leaf, an hour or 2 later, it does nothing at all. It leaves no poison behind. A bug that walks across that dry leaf the next morning walks away fine. The second, because there is no poison left behind, there is nothing on your food. This is why you can spray soap on a tomato in the morning and eat the tomato that night, once you have rinsed it. The extension offices in America say the same. Many soap sprays are cleared for use right up to the day of harvest. No chemical sits in the fruit. It cannot, because there is no chemical. There is soap, and then there is a clean leaf. So when a video tells you about one ancient powder or one miracle liquid that kills every bug forever and stays in your garden doing its work for months, you already know enough to be suspicious. The thing in my spray bottle kills what it touches while it is wet, and then it is gone. That is not a weakness I am hiding. That is the whole honest mechanism, and it is exactly why it is safe. You might think this is just one old man's habit. It is not. In Norway, the soap spray is close to official. Naturvernforbundet, our National Society for the Conservation of Nature, a serious old organization, not a blog, publishes the recipe for anyone with aphids. Their mix is soap-based. Green soap and water, with a little rapeseed oil and a spoon of baking soda to help it cling. It is printed plainly as the thing to reach for before you ever think about poison. When the country's largest conservation body tells the whole nation to fight aphids with soap, you are no longer dealing with a kitchen rumor. And there is the gardener, Tor Småland, a name known to Norwegian gardeners the way a famous cook's name is known in an American kitchen. His aphid recipe, a spoon of green soap, a splash of denatured alcohol, a little water in a pump can, is written on cards and tucked in kitchen drawers all over this country. When my neighbors get aphids, they do not drive to a store. They open the drawer, read Småland's recipe off a stained card, and mix it in 5 minutes. The soap itself is not a specialty item here. Green soap, the same soft brown soap I have been describing, sits on a low shelf in every grocery store and hardware store in Norway, next to the floor cleaners, for a few dollars a bottle. It has been in Norwegian homes for over 100 years, used for scrubbing pine floors and washing paintbrushes, long before anyone pointed it at a rose. The garden use is just one more job for a bottle that was already in the house. So the picture in Norway is not a secret passed between wise elders. It is the opposite of a secret. It is the ordinary, published, everyday answer, a cheap soap that everyone already owns, a recipe your National Conservation Society hands out for free, and a famous gardener's card in the drawer. No forgotten knowledge, no suppression, just a country that never got into the habit of paying for a fancy bottle when the plain one under the sink does the work. That is the part the American shelf leaves out. Not because there is a conspiracy, there isn't, but because there is no money in telling you the answer is already under your sink. A store sells bottles. It cannot sell you the thing you already own. So it puts a hard name and an angry label on refined soap and lets you assume the plain jar could not possibly do the same job. It can. Here in Norway, an entire nation has been quietly proving it for 100 years. Here is exactly what I do so you can do the same. I mix weak. This is the first thing, and the mistake most beginners make is going strong, thinking more soap means more dead bugs. It does not. It means burned leaves. About 1 tablespoon of true soap to a quart of water is plenty, roughly 2 to 5 tablespoons to the gallon. If you buy a proper insecticidal soap concentrate instead, you mix it by its label, usually a few tablespoons to the gallon. Weak and wet beats strong and scorched, every time. I spray in the cool of the day. Early morning is best, or the evening, never in hot sun, and never when the day climbs above about 90 degrees. Soap in bright heat is what burns leaves. In the cool, on a still morning with no wind, the spray sits and does its work. I aim under the leaves. This is where beginners waste half the bottle. Aphids and mites live and feed on the undersides of leaves and packed along the stem tips, hidden from the sun and from a careless spray. I turn the shoots and wet them from below. I drench until it drips. The soap only kills what it actually touches while wet, so a light dusting over the tops of the leaves is close to useless. Soak the bugs. For a few plants, a hand spray bottle is all you need. For a whole bed or a row of fruit bushes, spend a few dollars more on a small pump sprayer, the kind you pump to build pressure and then carry down the row. It throws a finer mist and reaches up under the leaves without your finger wearing out. If a colony is heavy, a stem crusted solid with aphids, I knock most of them off first with a hard jet of water from the hose, then spray the stragglers. Fewer bugs to wet means a cleaner kill, and I repeat. One spray is not a cure. It kills the aphids that are there, wet, that morning, but not the eggs, and not the ones that hatch or fly in over the next few days. So I spray again in 5 to 7 days, and usually a third time after that. 3 passes, a few days apart, clears 1 generation and breaks the cycle. After that, the plant is usually strong enough, and the ladybugs have usually arrived, to hold the line on their own. 2 days after each spray, I walk the bed and turn a few leaves to see it worked. The dead aphids are dry and brown and brush away under a thumb, and the fresh growth at the tips is clean and green again. That is the whole method. Weak mix, cool hour, under the leaves, soak them, and go again in 5 days. There is nothing more to it, and nothing more to buy. A spray bottle from any hardware store and a jar of soap will carry you through all 3 passes for about the price of a cup of coffee. Now the part the loud videos skip, and the part that matters most. Because a promise with no honest edge is just a sales pitch. This soap spray does not kill any bug. It kills soft-bodied bugs, aphids, spider mites, whiteflies, mealybugs, thrips, and young soft scale. That is the list. On a hard beetle, it does almost nothing. The shell it needs to dissolve isn't there. On a caterpillar, little. On eggs, nothing at all. The eggs sit there dry and hatch a few days later, which is the whole reason you must spray again. Any thumbnail that shows a beetle and a spider and promises that 1 soap or 1 powder kills them all is lying to you. Soap has a job, and it is a narrow one. It has no memory. Once it dries, it is finished. That is a gift for your food and your soil, but be clear-eyed about it. You are not protecting the plant for the weak. You are killing what is on it today. Tomorrow's aphids need tomorrow's spray. It does not know a friend from an enemy. If you soak a ladybug or a lacewing larva while it is wet, the soap kills it the same as an aphid. These are soft-bodied too. That is why I never fog my whole garden with it. I spot treat the 1 rose that has the problem and leave the rest alone, so the ladybugs and the little hoverflies keep patrolling everywhere else. Naturvernforbundet makes exactly this point, and it is worth hearing. Spray everything, and you kill the very insects that were about to eat your aphids for free. Overspraying is a favor to the aphid, not to you. It can burn your plants. Too strong a mix, or a hot sunny hour, and tender leaves scorch. Brown edges, dropped leaves, sometimes worse. A Norwegian grower I read of lost a whole rose one season to a mix that was too strong. So before you drench a plant you love, wet 1 leaf, wait a day, and look. If that leaf is fine, spray the rest. Some plants, soft new growth especially, simply don't tolerate it, and it is better to lose 1 test leaf than the whole plant. And the most important honest word, dish soap is not soap. Dawn and the liquids like it are synthetic detergents, not true soap, and they strip the protective wax right off your leaves and can foul your soil and the water that runs off your beds. Half the internet tells you to squirt dish liquid in a bottle. Don't. Use true soap, pure Castile, or a proper green soap, or an insecticidal soap concentrate. The whole reason this is gentle on plants is that real soap and dish detergent are not the same thing, however alike they look in the bottle. So here is what to do this week before the aphids get ahead of you. First, walk past the wall of ready-to-use spray bottles. A quart bottle, already mixed, runs $8 to $15, and you are mostly paying for the water and the plastic. That is the expensive way to buy soap. Instead, buy one of 2 things. Either a bottle of pure, unscented Castile soap, the plain kind, $12 to $18 for a large bottle that will make you 30 gallons of spray or more. Get it unscented. The scented ones carry oils that can irritate leaves. Or, at the hardware store, a bottle of insecticidal soap concentrate. The common one runs about $15 and makes 6 gallons. Before you buy it, Turn it around and read the back so you see it with your own eyes. Potassium salts of fatty acids, about half the bottle. Soap. You are buying refined soap, and now you know it. Then mix weak. About a tablespoon of Castile to a quart of water in a clean spray bottle, or the concentrate by its label. Mix only as much as you will use that day, because diluted soap does its best work fresh, and there is no sense making a gallon to store. Test 1 leaf and wait a day. Then spray in the cool of the morning, straight onto the aphids, under the leaves, until it drips. Come back in 5 days and do it again. 3 passes and you have broken the run. That is the whole of it. A few dollars, a spray bottle, and 3 cool mornings. I have grown roses and currants and apples in this cold country for a long life, and I have never handed money to the bug spray shelf. Not once. The bottles up there with the hard names and the pictures of dead beetles are selling a feeling that the answer must be complicated and dangerous and expensive, or it would not work. It is none of those things. The answer is soap and water and a little patience, and it has been sitting under the sink the whole time. A rich life in the garden was never about what you could buy to pour on it. It was about knowing which cheap, plain, ordinary thing already does the job, and not being talked out of it by a nicer label.